So now when you get out, this thing that you guys have, this well-known thing that you guys had with the Asian boys, has has it already started when you touched back down the street?
Absolutely. It started in actually the, what is it, mid 90s, 93,
Hmm.
94. Yeah. Hmm.
So shit, when you came along, it was already popping.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you get home, what year is this when you get home?
2000 and what, six?
2006. Okay. So the Wah Ching they had an ongoing conflict with the Asian boys.
Hmm.
Um and so you guys um they were I saw this on a documentary I came across recently prior to this even being set up,
Hmm.
about the Asian boys and how they got started, and very similar story to your own, whatever protection and stuff like that. But the Asian boys ended up hooking up with the Vietnamese boys,
Hmm.
all right, the BBZ. So at the point at which you guys are beefing with them, you're dealing with two different groups,
Hmm.
right? Y'all are opposing different groups. So on June 2nd, 2007, An Duc Nguyen,
Hmm.
a member of the Monterey Parkside Wah Ching, shot at five people in Westminster's Bowling Green Park, severely injuring one. The shootout was believed to be motivated by the fact that one of the victims changed his MySpace page bio to read Garden Gang. It- 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 are you familiar with that causality? Like, you familiar with how that popped off and got like
I've
that? Like,
I've
did you
heard
know
of it.
about some bullshit like that?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I mean, I don't really like know the details of it, to be honest, but I've heard of that. Yeah.
So did you have to move with that? Like, you had to represent your group in that altercation or in that beef? Um, in
Yeah.
light of some shit like that, that's what y'all had to.
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, a lot of that's just part of what it is, if you got to ride together basically. But again, that's pre going to prison, right? Like when you actually go to prison, speak on Asian boys, I have a lot of homies now from Asian boys who are like really tight with me. So that's when I kind of knew that the all this BS, we knew it was BS back then, but
Hmm.
I mean, when you get to, like for example, like when somebody changed their name or like fighting over a female, for example, that was all BS, and a lot of sides knew that because a lot of wars started because of that. But we still had to rock with it just because of the politics back then, right?
Right.
Nowadays, as I've been to prison, a person who's seasoned and done time, and I'm able to see that these people are the same as me. Like all my Asian boy homies, like they're just like me.
Yep.
They grew up in poverty. They grew up, without a father, like a father being there. Some of them didn't actually have a dad, but getting picked on, getting banged on, we all are interconnected with the struggle. So a lot of my homies were, who were in there because there's a lot of Asian boys in prison. There's a lot of watching in prison. So we started to realize like, man, all this stuff is BS, bro. Like it was just, we're all the same. Like you're just on another side, you're representing another team, and I'm representing this team, but we're actually mirror images of each other. We function the same, we move the same, we think the same. We have a lot of the same beliefs and core values. And when we dropped that BS politics, we became family. Like I have homies who are like family to me, who are enemies, enemies technically. Yeah.
Right. Who used to be opposition. So at what point did you and your peers begin to recognize this this bullshit going on? Like, you were still running, you were still banging at the point when y'all started to realize it?
No, I think we started realizing after we stopped banging, we started to get money. So the money kind of interconnected us as well because it's like, yeah, I ain't gonna kill you for a name no more. Let's get this bag together. That's number one.
Yeah,
And
that'll do it.
number two, it was prison. People who've been to prison are like this dude, I know he's a op, but he's cool. Like he's, you know, I've had people give me care packages when I was in prison, um, who were enemies. And I'm like, I always felt that was weird. Like when I first came to prison, I was like, dude, this guy's from, you know, Van Nuys Asian Boys or whatever. And it's like, dang, but he just shot me some soups, some, you know, stamps, some, you know, just a care package. And I'm like, man, that's cool, you know. And I started to realize like, oh, they had already in prison, they had already dropped that. It wasn't even like, oh, this Wah Ching's coming in, man. Like there was no real gang banging. You're in a gang, you have to represent your gang, but there's a lot of politics where you can't just be like, all right, you're from this gang, we got to fight. Like no, it doesn't work like that. If you do stuff like that, it's really looked down upon, and you could get DP'd, which is discipline. Like they will
Oh,
beat you up for that. Like the whole car will beat you up if they find out that you and the homie caught a fade, like without asking and without, you know, there's like all this politics basically.